Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, race number 9 at the fairgrounds on Louisiana Derby Saturday is the Grade 2 Muniz Memorial Handicap. Let's take a look at this field of turf horses going the about 1 mile and 1/8 distance. $300,000 is the purse. Matt, really the key to this race is, what'd you think of the local prep, the fairgrounds handicap won by Synchrony? Synchrony beat 4 of these common foes that day. Did you think that race was strong and the winner of the Muniz is coming out of that race, or are you looking for a stranger?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I think as opposed to years past, I thought the fairgrounds handicap as a whole was just sort of the field itself was blah, but I thought the top 2 ran very, very well, particularly the winner, Synchrony. You bring up that he's going to face Mr. Misunderstood again. I actually thought he ran just fine as well, but Synchrony is the kind of horse that ever since they transitioned him to turf, he's just had a reawakening, and unfortunately, he was gone for a long, long time from Mike Stidham, came back off of a very long layoff, fired a big shot. He popped back to his left lead at the end of the race. I think he's a major, major player in here, but I was just more interested in another runner. I picked him second. I think Synchrony has a big chance, though. Timeform
US had portions of that pace red, indicating that that was a fast pace. Both Synchrony and Mr. Misunderstood basically came from the back of the pack, and they actually bounced off each other at the top of the stretch. Synchrony getting the best of Mr. Misunderstood. They're both legitimately good horses. Mr. Misunderstood, it was the first time he'd ever lost on turf. He is now 8 for 9 with 1 second-place finish. As we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, though, do you think the pace will be fast, and do you think they can adapt? I think Synchrony can adapt to a slower pace situation, and I think Mr. Misunderstood could as well.
So the interesting thing for me is I agree. I don't think there's a heck of a lot of pace signed on in this race. I don't even know who the confirmed front runner is going to be, who's going to cut out the fractions. Of the two, I think Synchrony is not going to have a problem with the pace, no matter what it is. But Mr. Misunderstood, you don't have to go that far back to find races where he was only a length and a half, 2 lengths off the pace. I wonder if Laurent Giroux takes a look at this and says, you know what, if there's not a confirmed pace setter in here, let's be forward, let's be aggressive, let me get the jump on this horse, Synchrony, like as opposed to last time, and see, you know what, maybe that could be the difference.
Positive formulator fact for Synchrony's trainer Michael Stidham: over the past 4 years, older turf routers that won their last start and then are making the second start off the layup, it's 30% winners, $2.50 ROI. I agree with you. I think that Synchrony can adapt a little bit, maybe not as much as Mr. Misunderstood, but if the pace is moderate, he can be a bit closer, and Joe Bravo is riding in career form at the fairgrounds right now. On the far outside is one of the strangers, and that is Ring Weekend, and he certainly has the credentials to win a race like this. Grade 1 stakes winner on the turf way back when. This is a horse, he got a good pace scenario last time out at Gulfstream, but it was his first start off of the layoff, and you know something? It proved he could still run a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? This is a horse. Graham Motion is going to get all of his accolades for all the bigger accomplishments, the Animal Kingdoms, the main sequences, all those types of runners. Ring Weekend might be, to me, his best training job, because we know that he's brittle, we know that he's had issues, and he's still trucking and still shows up with big races here as a 7-year-old. I thought that most recent run was just fine. He beat a couple of decent horses. We saw Saham have a little bit of trouble last week in one of the DRF Vets races of the day. I think this horse is very, very interesting. The mile on an 8 shouldn't be a problem for him. The question is, where is he positioned in the running? We've seen him be closer in the past, but it seems like as he's gotten older, he's become more accustomed to coming from off the pace.
I agree, and especially from this outside post. I think Jose Ortiz is going to take him back, gather him up, and hope for one run through that long fairgrounds stretch. Here's a formulator fact for Motion, and it is a good one. Past 5 years, older last out winning turf riders going second off the bench in graded stakes, 26%. Good ROI, $5.27. Do you believe in Forge, the number 9? He came off of a considerable layoff last time out in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Stakes, and he made turf champion World Approval sweat in the final furlong of that race after getting a good trip. The problem is, World Approval came back and absolutely bombed. Do you believe that 105? Because let me tell you something, that's not the first time he's run a fast race.
Yeah, he's such a tough horse for me to decide. First and foremost, I've never really liked Forge ever since he got over here. I just haven't thought much of him, but I looked at that Tampa Bay race and I said, wow, he really ran and he made World Approval go. And then the problem is World Approval comes back and falls flat on his face and doesn't show up with anything out at Santa Anita. So I don't know that I want to say I don't believe the 105, but I kind of wonder where we are as far as that just race as a whole. Is it quite as good as maybe it looked like it was immediately after? So look, if he regresses to a 100, he still has a big chance in here. I guess I don't know what he's going to be for a price in here. I have no idea how to analyze this horse. I think he has a puncher's chance, but I don't know that I would want him at too short a number.
Boy, I was wrong about Danish Dynaformer in 2017. I thought he ran really well in the 2016 Red Smith Handicap and thought Roger Atfield might have him ready for a big year. He only ran 4 times. He never cracked the trifecta. He couldn't cash in despite a fast pace last time out in the Louisville Handicap, and now he's coming off of a very long layoff. He's capable at this distance, but when you think Danish Dynaformer, don't you think 11, 12 furlongs?
Absolutely. I think much longer distance is sort of needed for this horse. We'll find out. I can't help but think timing-wise, this could lead very well into the Keeneland race just a few weeks from now once we get up to Kentucky. So maybe this is nothing more than just get a race under his belt and then we'll go longer.
I'm not going to fall asleep on the number 4 Arklow, who won the Grade 2 American Turf on Kentucky Derby weekend in 2017. Went off form after that. Brad Cox did the right thing, gave him plenty of time. He came back off the layoff and he looked good. He's supposed to beat those horses at even money, but he was doing it off of a little bit of a layoff. The 1 1/8, not worried about it at all. This horse has some upside.
Yeah, he certainly does. I guess that's the interesting thing for him because I kind of look at it. He came back. He's supposed to beat those horses, the non-winners at 2. He was determined to get the job done. And I think it was a little bit easier than it even may have looked on paper for Giroux. But at the same time, he still hasn't run all that fast. If you look at his career best fig of a 92 in the American Turf almost a full year ago, he hasn't taken a step forward. And 92 is simply not fast enough to win here. He's going to need to move forward to win.
Timeform US has the 7 One Mean Man out there on the lead, and I guess that really shows you that this pace is not expected to be fast at all. One Mean Man has sort of pressing, stalking speed, but not exactly blazing speed. He's been managed very well by Bernie Flint. Heck, the horse has made over $500,000, but he was dropped in for 80 last time out, and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse, again, you're 100% right. They have put him in spots where he belongs and where he fits. I don't think anyone is sort of has the crazy illusion that he is more than what he is.
Galton, no match for Synchrony and Mr. Misunderstood in the Fairgrounds Handicap. He then came back in that $80,000 claimer. He got beat. He's 0 for 10 lifetime at the Fairgrounds. Throw Maker out at your own risk, and this horse has cracked the exact at 22 of 41.
I mean, he reminds me in a way of the horse we just talked about, One Mean Man. The difference is One Mean Man apparently is going to be close to the pace in this race, which he's never been in his career. But Galton, he's won, like you say, throw out Maker at your own risk, but I don't love him.
Zulu Alpha, another horse that really only raced evenly in the Fairgrounds Handicap at 82 to 1. It is his second start of the form cycle, but he's got a lot of improving to do to turn the tables on Synchrony and Mr. Misunderstood.
When he got here to North America, I thought he was going to be something, and it hasn't panned out. If I were Brian Hernandez Jr., I'm sending him. I'm saying, you know what? No, there's no other pace in this race. He's at least shown early in his career here in the States that he can be forward. I would just send him because obviously coming from the back hasn't worked.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Muniz Memorial. I think your horse is going to get a lot of play in here, Matt. That's the number 6, LeCullen, who really has done little wrong. 7 starts only off the board once in his career, that on dirt. Last race at Gulfstream off of a layup. Way more professional than the LeCullen I saw back at Belmont in the fall. I think he does have some tactical speed, but boy, he's got a ton of upside potential.
I think he's going to be vying for second choice in here behind Synchrony. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off in that 4 to 1 range, 7 to 2. I thought that non-winners at 2 last time out was fantastic. He beat a pretty good field, all things considered. They're not superstars, but I thought it was a pretty decent effort. The fact that it looked like he was getting the shuffle on the far turn and then still had the ability to come all the way out on the wide side and blow the doors off that field when there wasn't a heck of a lot of pace signed on. I thought he ran tremendous there. You look at that form late last year as a 3-year-old. If he just continues to take steps forward for Kieran, this could be a really interesting horse going forward. And you've got to think that the top connections in here with the top horses, they've got to be looking toward that Turf Classic on Derby undercard, because even if you don't win this race, if you run well enough at 9 furlongs, I think that's going to be the immediate goal. I think LeCullen fits in there. I think Synchrony fits in there. And I think some of these other runners, they've obviously got their eye on this, but also down the road.
8 to 1 on the morning line for LeCullen, 6 to 1 on the morning line for my top pick, Revved Up. I'm really worried about the lack of pace because this horse does seem like a confirmed closer, and that probably worked against him last time out in the Grade 1 Gulfstream Park Turf, where a quality horse like Heart to Heart was just able to control the pace. Revved Up was basically buried buried down inside and had no chance once Heart to Heart dropped to 48-3 on him after the first half mile. But I think he's getting a little bit of class relief, and I like him getting away from Gulfstream with that really hard turf course. I think he doesn't mind a little bit of give. I think the Fairgrounds turf course will work out better for him. I'm hoping he's one of those late developing Shug McGahee types, and the 4th and 5th place finishers from that last race did come back to Beyer 100 in their very next start. This horse has it in him. He just needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, and you know, the fascinating thing, we see it all the time with Shug, gets these older horses to continue to improve. He slowly but surely continues to improve. I wouldn't be surprised at all if second off the layoff, considering that was his first start in a few months off a little bit of a layoff, wouldn't be surprised at all. Second start off the bench, he takes to this mile and an eighth. You're right, the pace is a little bit of a concern, but I think he's going to slip through the cracks. I think he actually floats up from that 6. Wouldn't be surprised if he got 10.
Matt's going with the very promising number 6, LeCullen for Kieran McLaughlin. I'll go with the 10 revved up for Shug McGahee, 10-9-1-6 for me. In the Grade 2 Muniz Memorial Handicap, race number 9 at the Fairgrounds on Saturday is an approximate post of 4:06 Central. Best of luck.